Okay, I've covered most of this. I wanted to show this slide. And it's in your booklets. You'll see in your booklet a graphic that talks about the various securities laws that need to be considered when following through on or creating a business that is seeking this type of financing. So, the process has been in place for many years. In the past, the immigration, the USCIS, the immigration provisions under Homeland Security were responsible for evaluating these deals and putting them on the market. There have been a number of projects that have started and have been accused of bad things. Recently, about 2.5, 3 years ago in Chicago, a Chicago Convention Center was funding its way through EB-5. There was some doubt as to whether that was actually happening. The money was accumulated. It wasn't kept in escrow. It began to disappear. So what happened was the U.S. government has now begun to put securities lawyers inside of the immigration processes to make sure that the securities laws are complied with for purposes of that. And these are the laws that come into play. Okay, I talked about the minimum investment of $1 million, $500,000 on the targeted employment area. The first side of the project requires direct jobs. The second are direct and indirect jobs, so I've covered that. The next series of slides, in your booklet there are 2 of them, is a graphic that shows the flow of what a regional center, what services a regional center can provide. Basically, a regional center allows for a company not to have to create their own regional center. To get a regional center now would probably take close to 2 years and a serious amount of capital to accomplish. There are regional centers that are designed to provide the opportunity for their particular project. And then there are regional centers that allow themselves to be the platform for other people's projects. My regional center, Palm Beach Regional Center, was approved by Homeland Security in 2008. We were the first regional center approved in the state of Florida. On the same day, September 18th of 2008, 2 regional centers were approved. Ours and a regional center in the Orlando area called Lake Buena Vista.
How many regional centers are now?
Now, about 60 of them in the state of Florida. The state of Florida didn't do what the state of Vermont did. The state of Vermont, under Howard Dean as the governor, made the entire state a regional center. And they've taken in well over $1 billion in investment capital through this particular program. Florida, back in 2002, 2003, decided to allow individual regional centers to form. And now we have all of this competition, and not all regional centers act in the same way. In fact, most regional centers don't act in the same way. But the basic premise is to provide the opportunity to raise capital through this form.
How's the dollar line compared to Vermont, though?
Vermont? How's it gone in Vermont?
No, Florida versus Vermont. How's the dollar volume? 1 versus 60, the total dollar volume.
Well, there's probably more than 1 now, but like I said, Vermont has attracted about $1 billion in capital. I don't know what the state of Florida has attracted. Okay, I just don't. But they started with redeveloping ski lodges, actually, and doing timeshares. These 2 slides here show the relationship between the regional center and the business. Basically, how it works is you have a business that wants to attract the capital, and you have investors that want to invest the capital. The law says that the investor has to have an active role in the business. Now, you as the businessman are not really interested in the investor coming and telling you what color to paint your building. You want their money, you don't want their advice. So what's created in between is a capital raising entity. Up there I have it as the third party. It's a different structure, but it could be owned by the business owner. That structure is generally a limited general partnership or an LLC that makes a relationship between the business that wants to raise the capital, accepts that business on their platform, and then makes the relationship with the investors and brings the investors in, and the investors have an active role in that middle entity, and the government has allowed sitting on a general and limited partnership structure satisfies that active role. So the money comes into the capital raising entity and then moves out of it into the business that's going to ultimately receive the money. That structure has those centers operating. The investor gets a return on and a return of money. That's changing on a daily basis almost. It needs to be market competitive. But generally speaking, your cost of money in this process is going to be somewhere between 3 and 7%. And in some cases, it's even lower than that. Because the investor is really not interested in the return on the money. They're interested in the opportunity that allows them and their family to be able to relocate into the United States.